So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. So continuing from our previous video, my dear friend Ramanujam is still with us answering questions. And as you have rightly clicked, here the question is, so Ramanujam, please tell us that what are the challenges that NBFCs and banks will face going forward as IND AS is going to hit them in the coming year?
Oh, you have asked a very valid question, Vishal. So banks and NBFCs, as you rightly said, they are yet to implement IND AS in their own companies. But the important point is banks and NBFCs are in the business of borrowing and lending money. When it comes to money, the markets are very stringent and capital markets also react in a very absurd manner. So what we need to think is typically for banks and NBFCs, if you see which is the most critical element.
So I believe lending.
Yeah, so when you lend money, which is the biggest threat that the banks are facing today?
NPAs.
Absolutely. So NPAs in the previous regime of accounting, the way in which they used to do certain provisioning on account of NPAs was not very standard. It was, based on the specific company's policy. Some banks were using 1% of revenue. Some banks were taking a provision based on more than 180 days. Some NBFC were following some other policy. Now, after introduction of this IND AS and IFRS, they have to follow a concept of expected credit loss, where you need to have a probability index, where you need to have past history, where you need to have a risk index, and based on that you have to do the provisioning in a very systematic manner, which needs to basically represent your business model also. So that is going to be the biggest challenge. And another set of challenge is going to be in terms of investments which typically banks hold, and the classification of all the financial assets what they have. And the third set of challenges also going to be ESOPs and other consolidation related aspects which they have.
So are you telling me that after implementation of IND AS, no big businessman will borrow money and run away abroad?
I am actually no one to comment on that, but the way in which this laws have been defined and the way in which this accounting standards have been configured as far as IND AS is concerned, it gives a lot of improvement area for banks and NBFCs. And if you see, initially the banks and NBFC were supposed to go live in 2017-18, but they have again deferred the implementation by 1 year, which talks in itself that what is the real issue.
Well, thank you very much for answering this question.
Thank you.
So at the end of this video, friends, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask more questions to our expert here, Mr. Ramanujam. So if you have any questions for him, do write in the comment section, and let me assure you I'll bring him back here for more answers.